Another game under Carrick and another win, and we are in dreamland. If if this is true, please do not wake me up. I still feel like we aren't as good as we could be, but we are marching on, and someone better. And I don't know. Get the Clippers, get them oiled up, get them ready for Tuesday because some boy's getting his hair cut. That's all I'm going to say. And we're live, guys. Welcome back. It's another review show. And, well, let's stop calling them review shows. Let's go straight in and just say this is United Lens coming on yet another United win under Michael Carrick. And, you know, those people out there are going to start screaming, give him the job, give him the job. And that's all we're going to be hearing. You're not going to hear it from me for a while, but it's another win. It's a game against Tottenham, which I thought could have gone either way when we started. So we will break it down. We'll start with the starting 11. It was pretty much what I predicted. It's not what I went with, but I did explain. Obviously, the big turning point is the red card. We'll have a word about the goals, where we were at half time. The subs, second half. Sesko's missed it right at the very end and how important that could have been for him. We'll do some player ratings because, let's be fair, I don't normally do them, but I probably should because everyone should really have their say on how someone's performed, you know. So we'll just go from there. It's another 3 points and let's get going. So today's starting 11 was unchanged. Straight away, have a quick say. Well, is it evening? I suppose we'll say evening now, Danny. It's 5 o'clock. We've been screwed over by Wolves, so I'll bring that up later on. But I'm sure Cole Palmer's a happy boy today. Bit like ourselves. Boxing. Maybe I won't stop boxing. Welcome to the beginning of one of my shows, and not the end. and I got a bit. You put it there. It's Carrick. Better believe it's not Scholes. It's Carrick. Come on, sing it with me. Better believe it's not Scholes. It's Carrick. I could just sing it all day. It sticks in your head. Such a good song. So good when you're hearing it live as well. I've got to be honest. When you're there and it's just something that immerses you in it. It's a great song. Not sure how Paul Scholes feels about it because at first I didn't think that's what they were singing. It was only once you're there and you actually realise the second bit is better believe it's not Scholes. I feel he's been a little bit hard done by, but considering they played in the midfield together. Interesting. Boxing, I'll come back to that because I wasn't there today. My nephew was, but he was in the Stretford end. But it seemed in the first half nervy again at Old Trafford in the first half. We're singing, but I felt like the players still seemed a bit nervy. Let's start with the starting 11. So the starting 11, as I predicted, no changes to the back line with the goalkeeper. Midfield would be Kobe and Casemiro. And I said, if you remember, just only last night, hiccups. It's all that singing, it's taking my breath. I'm not a singer, as you've probably just realised. I said about him putting Mbeumo left wing and putting Sesko in up front because I felt he'd do a better role than Cunha. And what I was seeing, obviously, a narrow angle on the TV today, but straight away I was on the phone. Is Mbeumo playing left wing? And my nephew's like, yeah, he is. So I was right because Cunha wasn't doing that tracking back, and we saw it quite a bit from Mbeumo. But then they seemed to be interchanging, so he'd obviously given them a little bit more freedom, but defensively it seemed Mbeumo was the defensive runner on the left. And I think that really helped us out today for at least 25, 30 minutes and up until the red card. I thought, let me know what you guys think, but I thought Sesko was probably unlucky not to start. and Cunha would have been unlucky to have been dropped. So maybe in all of it, it was fair. So yeah. So the starting 11, it. Tanisha, I was going to say when we come to the score that you got the prediction right. I got the goal scorers right. I said Mbeumo hat trick and Bruno penalty, so I got Bruno and Mbeumo. It just wasn't the 4-1. But of course, you got the clean sheet, and for me, the clean sheet's one of the most important things. Yeah, so but that's both of you saying it's a great atmosphere, and obviously when you're winning games, I'm sure it is. Compared to when you're there losing games and probably thinking, why the hell did I come? Which we were probably thinking, only a month ago. That's pretty much how we felt going to games. So I do get it. There you go. So Boxing just said he was watching the first half and he thought Sesko might have suited us more in the first half. So I thought Sesko would be the perfect person to wind up Romero. We didn't even need him to do it. We didn't even need him to do it because the guy's got a touch of Jeffrey Epstein and went and absolutely creamed himself straight through Casemiro. He had no reason, as the commentary, I had Annie McCoist and that, there was just no reason for him to do the follow through. I don't know obviously if you've been at the game, if you've had a chance to watch it back yet, but he could have just hit the ball and left it there, but he doesn't. Instead of just meeting the ball, he pushes through and literally, we're lucky we didn't lose Casemiro because he could have easily rolled his ankle or potentially snapped his ankle as well. It was that forceful a contact. But I get where maybe older generation like myself or other people I know will be like, I remember that was just the way you did it. You got the ball, you went through, you took the player afterwards, and it was always acceptable. The rules have changed. And right now, as of 2:30 today, I was buzzing that the rules had changed. Romero's off. It was a game changer. My nephew messaged me from the other end. Like I say, if you're in the Stretford end, you probably look like Casemiro had floored Romero. So if you've got a side view, maybe a little bit different. But they all thought Casemiro had fouled Romero, and the red card was for Casemiro, and that's why he wasn't getting up. So it's funny how it can seem in the ground compared to actually what you see on TV. Obviously, we get the slow motion and everything like that. But that red card, up until the red card, I thought we were snatching at our chances. We'd have a few sort of pot shots. Cunha had one which he tried to bend in the top corner from about 30 yards. It looked great, but it needed another sort of 2-3 yards sort of curl on it to get it inside of the post. And the keeper might even have had it covered, if I'm honest. He saw it very early. Bruno shanked one wide. It was very hard. It was drilled it in by Ahmad. And Mbeumo was in within 30 seconds and smashed it. He's obviously tried to drill it near post and hit it over the bar. So he seemed on top. Tottenham didn't really cause us, any real problems. But then obviously the red card happened and pretty much that instantly changed it. Within less than 5 minutes, we get a corner and that leads to the first goal. And I'm sorry, how have we gone from being a team that couldn't score a set piece in almost a season to the second best set piece team in the league? And there isn't much between us and Arsenal. I think it's one goal now from a set piece. But the manager, he's let us know that it's Johnny Evans' set piece that we scored from. He's come up with it, and he gave all the credit to him. So what you wouldn't have seen, the camera panned to it, and straight away he's applauding, and just like that to Johnny Evans, like, well done, mate, that actually worked. Ball played in as Kobe Mainoo runs across the goalkeeper. He helps it round the corner back towards the penalty spot. And the interesting thing is where it went to. It was towards the penalty spot where Bryan Mbeumo then curves his run as if he's taken a penalty and just shifts it into the bottom corner. Perfect contact, just guides it in. No real power. The keeper had come across like everyone because they'd all moved across the box. So he'd moved across thinking it was going to be set and fired in near post. Open up the back post in the bottom corner. And for me, absolute, as a coach, tactical genius. That was so simple, but it was really created by the red card, because that one extra player probably would have been in and around that space, potentially to pick up one of the 3 players that are out there, and he could have got the block on it. But let's be honest, boys and girls, do we care? No, we do not. It went in and we scored. Yeah. So yeah, you are right about the red card. But if you wanted to have a bet on someone to get sent off and you were put it on every week, he's probably the player in the Premier League to do it. It's six red cards in 200 and something games. I think they worked it out. He gets a red card 1 in every 26 matches, as captain. So he's now going to have to serve. It's his 2nd red card of the season, and he will have to serve a 4-game ban. And Tottenham already don't have any players. They were lucky today to have Van der Ven back, which obviously stopped us from being able to counter-attack in behind. Because let's be fair, there is no one, not even Superman, can beat Van der Ven in a race. He's that quick. So it really did change the game, and it was obvious. And that's what I mean. Sometimes it's worth targeting the hothead. If I was playing against Man United, I would target Martinez and get him to lash out, because he's the same. He's likely to lash out. Same with Casemiro. Players used to target him. We all know about the Fulham where he grabs the shirt and gets sent off for doing that because they thought he'd done that round the throat. So it is what it is. But that first goal, Johnny Evans, the brains behind it. A lot of us were questioning why Johnny Evans was even there. You've got to pit an aspect as a coach when you're coming up. You go, what do you want to work on? I've got defensive coach, attacking coaches. I need set piece coaches, fitness coaches. And he's obviously gone, I'll start with the attacking and defending set pieces, and it's obviously working well. After that, we moved towards half time, and I thought it went a little bit flat after we scored. Not necessarily energy levels, but we were trying to turn the ball in behind. Like I say, we couldn't do that because Van der Ven would pick it up with ease. Obviously, they dropped straight into a sort of a 4-4 defensive block. Solanke never saw the ball all day, and when it did come up near him, Maguire and Martinez had in 50-50 in their pockets. He just never looked like he was ever going to get past them at all. So yes, but the other thing, going into half time, I was like, do we change it? Do we go with a little bit more pace? Because they've lost a player, could we have risked taking off, dare I say it, taking off a defender and putting another attacker on and having Sesko, Cunha and Bruno as an attacking sort of 6, and then just have Casemiro sit in between Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Martinez, and we just sacrifice Dalot, because let's be fair, most of us would be happy if Dalot came off the pitch. Maybe not today, but it just would have showed intent to go get more goals. Maybe that's because I wanted my 4 goals that I predicted. So who knows? So yeah, when we got into the second half, I still felt we came out a little bit sort of looking for them to make a mistake, looking for them to try and get the ball and counter us. So I was looking for the subs to get on maybe early, about the 60th minute. And then obviously we made a few. And with those subs, they made theirs. They went a little bit more attacking because they knew they had to get back in the game. They felt there was something there because we weren't punishing them enough to get that second goal. They changed whatever they were doing, and it played into our hands. We easily capitalised on it. The second goal, it's a nothing goal. Let's be fair. We've actually got a really big lucky break in it, but Dalot's just thrown the ball into the box. He's not one of the best crossers of the ball. And that's led to Bruno. scoring. But before we do that, what's this just say? We seem to have our own swagger back today. I was always worried about the game, but we handled it. We handled it and got another good result. Most importantly, that's the result, isn't it? I genuinely don't care if we play 38 games in the season and we play crap for 20 games if we're getting the wins, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the 3 points. I think we worried about their counter at 1-0, but once we got the second goal, it killed Spursy off. Exactly that. And that's sort of what I was getting to, boxing. They brought on, I'm trying to think who came on. They took off Basuma, they took off Solanke, and they went a little bit more attacking, some fresh legs for the last half an hour. And with that, we brought on Sesko, and so we didn't make all the changes till the second one. I've got them down here. Let me just see if I can chuck them up. Who did we bring on? Let's have a look. There we go. There we go. So yeah, we brought on Benjamin Sesko, just the one up top for Cunha. Why they were? I thought we brought on two at once. Maybe we didn't. Why they chucked on very early on? Obviously, they brought on Dragazin because of the red card, and you always got a feel for the player that gets subbed off so early. Even for the opposition to be dragged off because of a red card. God, I love being in the changing room when that happens to a player because they do half lose their shit with the person that has been sent off because it's affected their game time and their stats. They brought on Souza and he was quick. Ahmad couldn't really run past him, and that sort of changed it. And then in the 80th minute, they brought on Bissouma, Tell, and Colin Mawani, and that was it. They were going for it, and boxing. That's where you're right. They felt they could get the ball off of us, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to have to hang on. And they brought him on those three on in the 80th minute, and on the 81st minute, Bruno scored. So it all went to shit basically because now you know Man United are 2-0 up. You were looking to counter. That's not going to happen because United are not necessarily going to look to sit in, and we didn't because obviously there was still another chance, but it meant that we didn't have to be so aggressive with the balls into the box. We could play to the corners, we could retain the ball and then move it back around the back because we had the extra player. So the worst thing that could have happened for Tottenham was those substitutions, not because they were bad subs, but we scored straight after them, which meant they had nothing. But the goal we scored, we were so lucky because if Sesko had got the minutest of touches, Bruno would have been offside. But Sesko was at full stretch, full leap, and couldn't make contact. And it is an absolute shin roller into the corner by Bruno. But it's an actual, I can't get my foot to it. I'm going to have to hit it with my shin. And you stroke it with your shin. So it's the same sort of contact when you're stretching your foot out and you're just making a hard contact. You do it with your shin. But it's so hard to control. If you've ever seen the people doing keepy uppies and they keep the ball up on their shin, it's the same contact. But it is not easy. I would say it's probably an upside to having smaller shin pads these days. If you had the big bulky shin pads, it absorbs the blow and you don't get the contact. Whereas Bruno, obviously, he's got small shin pads, shins it in, back across the keeper. And I've got to be honest, it is a great finish. And that was, Bruno Fernandes's 200th goal contribution, goal or assist since he signed for Man United. And that is unbelievable. And I'm sorry, we need to... I don't care whether you're a Bruno lover, a Bruno hater, sell him in the summer, whatever. I think it's 200 goals and assists in 300 something games. It's absolutely phenomenal stats. It's basically less than one in two. So, and you think for some of that, we've been so poor and not scoring. How many more could he have had? Under different managers. We can't say playing him in the 8 has affected him this year, because it didn't, because he's up to 12 contributions, and most of that was still from the 8th, because he takes free kicks, takes corners. So there is a lot of contribution still came from him playing in the physical 8. I think Bruno's a player, it doesn't matter where he is on the pitch, he will throw the ball in the box, hoping for someone to get on the end of it. Great shin roller from Bruno, yeah. But it didn't roll. That's sort of the point I'm trying to make. It was a shin volley. It was a pure contact. Whereas a shin roller, you see it, and it sort of normally sees the keeper sort of scrambling across and trying to make the dive. It wasn't. It was a shin volley into the bottom corner. It was it was a great bit of technique. Pretty sure he wouldn't be able to pull it off, week in, week out. But, I'll give you another example of a great shin volley, and that's Wayne Rooney's overhead kick against Man City. When you watch it in slow motion, it don't come off his foot, it comes off his shin. So it does happen, and it obviously happens at the right times for Man United, a bit like what Wayne Rooney's was. So, but yeah, unbelievable contributions. I think if Carrick stays on, we must keep Bruno. But we'll come back to that at the end. If it would be, I shouldn't roll that. Bruno's technically gifted. Hey, speak for yourself. I know about how to do it. It's just the timing just has to be spot on. It's not even that. If it catches the top of your shin pad and hits your shin, that it just has to be perfect timing. And you watch him, it came so fast. He just sticks it out and makes it like a brick wall, so it hits it and goes. It's pure class. And with someone like Benjamin Sesko jumping the height he jumps in front, and to keep the eye on the ball was even better. But they switched off at the back post, and let's be fair, that pretty much game over. We brought on the subs after that. Mazraoui came on again. I really need him to get more minutes if he's going to start ahead of Dalot. So all of you calling for him to start, you need to call for him to get more minutes. Dalot now with an assist is another reason to start. And let's be fair, he didn't do anything wrong again. He seems to be settling into the back four nicely. And it seems to be really simple instructions. If you get the ball wide, I want you to play it into Casemiro, play it to Ahmad, and stay put. If you see the chance for the overlap and we're in their half, you go, but you've got to go early. But right now, he's not really putting a foot wrong. Do we still want him? No. But yeah, exactly. Dalot was a good vote today, Mark. And that's it. If he's doing his job as a fan base, we're about winning. So all the time he's doing his job and not costing us anything, it doesn't really matter if it's him or Mazraoui. Obviously, it was nice to get a couple of fresh legs back on the pitch. Xerxes came back on. Came back in today. He had one good sort of flash across the box, which on another day maybe someone could have put it in. Ugarte got his minutes, and for those who aren't aware, that was the first time Mainu has stepped off of the pitch during a match under Carrick, and it was in the 87th minute when we didn't really need him anymore. And then obviously Tyler Fletcher came on in the 92nd to make the fifth sub, and at that point, just so everyone is aware, we had Aiden Heaven, Lenny Yoro, Tylo Malacia. We didn't need any of them on, which just left Fletcher to come on in midfield. So happy days. We're getting to rotate a couple of players off. Not necessarily that early, but Fletcher on for Mainu. We had Ugarte on for Casemiro. And I'm happy, but if they can come on and that late on in the game, all these people saying we haven't got the legs. Isn't it funny how we're controlling the ball more, and therefore our midfield aren't having to run so stretched between the attack and defence, but Casemiro's lasting longer in the games. A lot of it was about ball retention, but the guy, he's an absolute rocket from outside the box in the first half. I forgot to mention that. A little bit more whip and it's heading towards the top corner, but the keeper pulls off a very acrobatic camera save. But I wouldn't say he would have caught it, but it was definitely one for the cameras. But yeah, it was good. It was a good, solid half of football in the second half. We'd done our jobs and we got the job done. But right on the stroke of full time, literally 2 seconds before the whistle's blown, Bruno robbed of his 13th assist of the season by Sesko. Because Jesus Christ, what a miss. Clips it over. The centre backs are literally the Atlantic apart. You could fit the space between us and the moon in between their two centre backs. Sesko finds himself on the penalty spot and heads it straight into the keeper's arms. And for me, that's got to go in. I've said it so many times. He's had a couple of chances to have been offside. If you think you're offside or whatever, doesn't matter. You try the acrobatics. You've got to score because there's no bigger moment in football than to have a disallowed goal. Do you know what I mean? Because you do everything right, and if you're stripped of it, fair enough. It's a bit like Cunha. I think Cunha knew Bruno was always offside when he tapped in that goal from Ahmad, but he still just stroked it away from the keeper and strokes it in. Sesko, ball's chipped over to him. I'm looking at him going, take it down on the chest and slot it home. We know he's got good chest control. Take it down on the chest, swivel, and just stroke it in a corner. Pretty much it could have been identical to what he scored the other day. So, Trevor, nice of you to join us. Evening. Good result today, but up to the 30th minute, they looked dangerous until the sending off. But most important thing is 3 points. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said. The sending off should definitely change the game. Although we still controlled all that game, Tottenham didn't really threaten us. We didn't look threatening against us. They looked like they could neutralise us with ease. Yeah, definitely Sesko, and that's what I'm just saying. Sesko could have pulled that one down on his chest, swiveled left or right, and slotted home. Very similar. It would have taken a very quick and a very good reaction from the keeper coming out, a big spread to maybe deny him. And at that point, you'd be hitting it through the keeper, hopefully. I got to be honest, I have to say it. The Tottenham goalkeeper, I thought was pretty much. Is it Vicario? Yeah, it's Vicario. I thought he had a great game. I thought he controlled his box really well. He always knew he was going to be under the cosh because United were shooting from everywhere, be it from outside the box, inside the box. There was one where Ahmad went to try and go past him, and he comes out and gets his foot to the ball, spreading himself as wide as possible. What was that? More or less straight after we scored. I think we scored. They had the sending off, and I was like, if Ahmad could have lifted that ball with his first touch, that was another red card. And then God knows what the score could have been. But I thought Vicario, he's actually a very good goalkeeper. And I think you need to be play behind this Tottenham back line because there was a lot of mistakes in him. Vicario was very good in fairness. What's boxing saying? He's hit and miss with Spurs keeper. Yeah, and you're right. When the ball comes into the box, that's where he's at. He's dangerous. There was one where I think it was the first half. Casemiro. I mean, we didn't even get the corner from it, so Polina wasn't credited with the clearance. The ball is thrown in from the right corner flag, whipped straight towards the back post, and Casemiro's coming like a steam train. He's about to head it in, and Polina just lifts it up, off, and out for a thing. And Casemiro crashes into the goalkeeper, the net, wipes the lot out. But it was a stone wall sort of just power header coming in. But that's where you can exploit their goalkeepers. Normally with the crosses, if you drill it hard and low, drill it across the air, he'll come from and tends to miss them. So it's obviously something Tottenham want him to do, patrol his box, take the high balls. But he isn't very good at judging them, in my opinion. So let's have a quick look at the stats. Obviously, that went on. We won 2-0, and we stay in fourth. And game over, job done, everything. This is not Marcus in Australia. No. The hair is still there, Trevor. The haircut is coming. It's just finding time. The weekends current weekends I've got for the next month or so are absolutely rammed between United content and my own work and obviously football. I could go during the week, but sometimes we all know what it's like. We put it off and we just let it grow because can we be asked to go after work? Sometimes you've had a bad day or just a long day. So the hat does come out from time to time. More at the moment is because I'm more worried about looking like Haaland and having to put it in a ponytail at the back. But as long as I keep this trim, Trev, yeah, keep this for the camera. Are you all right with that? I thought Sesko should have brought the chance down and controlled it before finishing it. Instead, he took the header. If I couldn't generate. So I think Sesko is overrated on his heading ability because someone made a big song and dance, a certain channel, about how high this guy can jump and generate headers, which is fine if the ball is being whipped and coming back towards your head. But when the ball's bending away from you, like it was with Bruno's, it's coming in, it's curling back towards you. It's very hard to generate that. So a lot of the time, you're better either to try and chest it down or bring it down if it's up there one way or another. Or, I kid you not, if you've got it in the locker, try the overhead kick. Because when that ball's whipping back towards you, it's so hard to guide the ball and create directional, like with heading through the ball, because it'll come off the wrong part of your forehead, more like a temple. Try the overhead kick. Do you know what? What have you got to lose? But in Sesko's case, because he's so tall, it's more likely a kick out of floodlight with his legs up in the air there than kick the ball. But he's got to start doing something. He's got to start finishing those chances, in my opinion. I felt for Sesko. I knew Cunha wouldn't start on the left. So if that makes any sense, I knew Cunha would not be on the left because he left us exposed. And Mbeumo certainly was doing that job. And then it sort of went a little bit sort of rotationary after the sending off in the second half because they couldn't pick up every player. It was that simple. I thought Sesko, if we want Sesko to score more goals, he needs a bigger run of games. But before he can have those run of games, he can't miss chances like he missed today. And that's my honest opinion. You've got to take the opportunity when it comes, even if it's a 97th minute, you're put on, the ball's tapped across to you, a bit like the Cunha goal today, and you're just stroking it in the goal. If that's your chances, that builds confidence. That confidence you can take into and build again if you're given the opportunity to start. But right now, I feel Sesko doesn't have that confidence. Maybe he doesn't quite believe he should be at Man United yet. I know it's a big shout, and maybe that's a bit of a hot take, but I'm not sure Sesko gives the aura of someone who believes he should be there. You know, the difference between Sesko and Rasmus Højlund, Sesko is proving to be a better all-round footballer than Rasmus Højlund. But because Rasmus Højlund was a Man United fan and living his dream, I felt he gave us more. If you combine those two together, like for Sesko, as in if you brought that in for Sesko and he believes in the club and he falls in love with the club, then we probably have a very good player on our hands. But it would have been very hard to have dropped Cunha anyway. I will definitely be leaving the hat on, and I will definitely not be singing the song. So, but stats-wise, pretty much we were controlling the game up until the sending off, and for obvious reasons, after the sending off, I think they had one tiny little sort of spike around 65, 70 minutes where they had a few chances, and then that was all us. So stats-wise, believe it or not, we only had 65% possession, which I think is probably one of the highest we've had in a win, because obviously we've been such a counter-attacking team. Who loves XG? We all know I don't. We scored 2 goals, but our XG was only 1.79. What a load of bollocks that is, right? Where Spurs was 0.49, but I don't even remember the keeper making a save. So if anyone can tell me what the shot was and what save Lemons made, it'll be great. I remember, it must be the Savvy Simmons shot from outside the box in the first half. He hit a volley, left-footed volley, and it was always going wide. Didn't have any bend on it. The keeper throws himself across. Maybe that's the one chance they had. But I don't know how because it wasn't on target. 23 shots. So, boys, let me know how you feel about that. 23 shots, 10 on target, only one was classed as a big chance. So it's that I can understand, and that I will talk about. I still feel we're having too many shots from outside the box. I like a little, if you've got a chance to hit a rasper, but you think the keeper's going to fumble and we're following it in. If that's a game plan, that you see 3 or 4 players in front, you can't get the ball into their feet. Drill one, hard and low, make the keeper make a save, and we follow it in. That's nothing new. That's been football for life. Yeah, you've always used to have 2 strikers following the ball in from shots from outside the box. But 10 on target, that's a much better shooting accuracy from what we've been having this season. 7 corners. Feel we probably could have got a few more corners out of them. We didn't really get to the byline to get crosses back. But when we did get to the byline, they actually didn't try and tackle, which was quite weird. Because we're getting to the byline within the box, so they don't cut the ball back. What's this Danny saying? 100% on Sesko. I'm glad you agree. Obviously, boxing, Trevor, if you've got a different take on Sesko, please put it in the chat. I love to discuss this sort of stuff after I've sort of done the breakdowns. This one I like. Can I frame this one? XG is a load of bullshit. It really is. It really is. I think the biggest thing today, Tottenham's top 2 goal scorers are Romero and Van der Ven. And how do we think they score those goals? From set pieces. So even within the 30 minutes when they had a full 11 on, we did not give up one corner for 90 minutes. They couldn't push us back. They couldn't bring the ball down. Whenever they did try to run, we doubled up on them. We got the ball. And we even kept it in play and got the counter on. So defensively, I think we were talking about this last night, but Steve Holland has got that defensive unit just really working. Whether it's Holland and Woodgate on his own and Holland's just doing the whole team, I don't know. But the way we're defending, we're giving away or not giving away a lot more opportunities for people to score. We're not pushing them wide. We're not trying to give away set pieces, especially when you've got a shorter centre back on in Martinez. When you've got Kobe Mainu, not as tall. So when you're defending them, we would give up the height. So yeah, no big chances, no corners, and obviously the keeper didn't have to make a save. So for me, absolutely bloody great. You know, what I don't get, and I'm just going to. Oh, it's 23 shots, not 25 shots. I can't read. That's what you get from using the Premier League stats. Purple background, white writing. Not the clearest. They need to change that up. What's boxing staying here before I move on? I think Sesko needs time. I like that he's physically ready. I thought Højlund was always having to fight with the centre halves, but Sesko has the strength and technique to not have to fight with them. Yeah, there was one actually boxing where he came on. It was likely to be very similar to the goal from last week, where actually he bodies Endo. No, it wasn't Endo. It must have been Dragusin. He bodies him mid-run, gives him a little nudge, and it gives him a yard to get in front of him. And he does it at the right time. So like you're saying, he's not trying to fight with him, get hands on, pull each other, all that crap, which actually Højlund's not doing that in Italy. So it's something that maybe he's realised he's been criticised against and he's taken out of his game. Don't forget, if someone starts pulling at you, the chances are you are going to pull back at them. So maybe they thought they could manhandle Rasmus more than they can manhandle Sesko. But you are right, he's not doing that. But the ball's coming in quicker. He's prepared to make the runs in behind and the ball come first time. But there are only certain players who will play that ball first time, Bruno being one of them. Whereas we know with Ahmad, he'll cut back onto his left foot so that he won't play the ball across hard first time for Sesko to get on the end of. So there is that kind of pattern I'm seeing from our attacking play. So, but I do really agree, Sesko does need time, but he also needs to find that desire to score. And when the chance is there, break the net. A lot of good interlinking play between the front three. They are gelling well, so there is no need for so many shots outside the box, but they do have that in their locker, it's sort of a 50-50 really. And it is. And when you shoot from outside the box, if you know Cunha likes a shot from outside the box, we don't really see Mbumo do it, right? So if Cunha was to say to me, right, I'm playing on the left wing today, I'm likely to cut in. And if I'm anywhere to the left of their goal, all the way up to the edge of the D, I'm going to try and bend it in the far post. So what you need to do when you see me approaching like that is run in, curve your run, so you're outside that, so you can finish my shot if it's parried. So, and that will come in time. And people think that they've got a week on the training pitch, they're going to do that. That this is going to come. No, it's real life football is totally different to training pitch football. The drills we put on, the finishing drills we put on, they will be so towards actual. They never favour the goalkeeper. That's the best way to put it. They never favour the defence. They never favour the goalkeeper. It will always be 4 attackers against 3 defenders and a goalkeeper. So there is always, the idea is to finish the training drill with goals. The interlinking will always be on the possession side, having one greater number than the other. So whenever you train, when it's 11v11, that's where it really comes in. And that's where you need those conversations of what you think might happen. Can you imagine Luke Shaw has played in every league game this season? That's a huge bonus. That's why he's playing so well, as he's had a huge run of games. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So take Luke Shaw, and you give that as an example of Sesko. You give that an example of Cunha and Mbumo going into next season, having that run of games. Even Kobe Mainu coming in now. That fitness growing game by game by game. Luke Shaw's back making those marauding runs down the left, which he was asked to do as a left-side centre-back under Amrin. And I didn't feel like he had the legs, but he's obviously building it up over time. Luke Shaw's been very hard done by the United fan base. Although I am still on the thing that if you've only played 50% of the available games in the 10 years you've been at the club, there's something seriously wrong with that. The guy, if you've noticed, he right now, you can almost imagine him being picked for the England squad. Whether he plays in the starting 11, but as a backup left back or left wing back, we know he can do that job. But what will happen, that means is he'll play 38 games for us. Normal season, he could play anything up to 60 games for Man United and pretty much not miss any. And then he'll go away with England. And then the following season, he starts getting injuries because he hasn't had any rest time. Comes back in, we do these stupid tours off to America or Dubai or Thailand, and the players don't get that rest. And it seems Luke Shaw, when we think of the battering his body has had, especially his legs, one of his legs is like Robocop. You just expect it to open up and you see all these nuts and bolts and cogs inside it. You can physically see his bolts like sticking behind the skin. It's an absolute horror show, very Frankenstein-esque. But I think that does play a big part into Luke Shaw for us. International retirement probably would be a good Shaw to prolong his career. But that's why we also need to sign another left back. If Malacia is not going to come in and be able to do the job, he's obviously only on the bench to make up numbers. Right, what else we got here? There's a few more things I want to go over regarding the stats before the end. I thought there was a few chances to pass or play a free ball rather than shoot today as well. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's sort of what I'm saying. We're still taking those shots. And it's very hard for the attacker who's trying to hold his run and, shift his body, open it out so the ball can come across him. I keep doing it and realise really you only see the top of my shoulders. You don't see my waist down. Maybe I should do some training videos for the channel in the summer when it's not so pitch black at night when I'm doing my training. And that is under floodlights, guys. Just doesn't pick up well on camera before anyone says anything. But yeah, you are right. The through balls are on, and we just need to get it to the right side of the player. We seem to push them away from goal, and it's a hooked shot, which is very hard. Instead of feeding it through for a right-footed finish on their right, we seem to feed it through on their left, and they have to hook it with their bad foot. All right, I'm going to come back. let's come back. Well, as you want to go back to Sesko, we'll come back to that in a minute, and then I can see the other bits afterwards. Just possession-wise, passing accuracy. Now, let's not lie. There was an elephant in the room. They had one less player than us. So our passing accuracy, we had more players to create space to complete those passes. So there's never really an excuse, except in the final third, to have your pass intercepted. And it felt like that today. Whereas for Tottenham, they were a player down. We could double up every time in most situations. We had a 90% pass accuracy today. They had an 82% pass accuracy. So you can see that extra player, it's about playing the right pass to the right player. But 90% is top, 82 sort of Premier League level. Long passes, 44%. We only played 27 long passes. Now, most of them are from the goalkeeper, which I have no problem with. We had 813 touches in the match. But again, this is why I wanted to cover this. Going back to the shots, 37 touches inside of the box. And we're not getting more shots off inside the box. So I feel if we're getting 37 touches, I always talk about a striker wants 1 or 2 touch for a finish. So we're dribbling into the box and it's not leading to anything. Maybe we've got to start going into the box, shift it, drill it across the box. Shift it, drill it across the box so players can make their run. And hopefully that's something on the training field that they will start picking up on. Obviously, I'm not going to look at the defensive stats. They're an absolute joke because we didn't have to do any defending. But it says here Vicario only made 8 saves in the match. I felt like he'd done more than that. So that'll be interesting. And obviously the best one, discipline. United got 1 yellow card, but it's 1 red card and 2 yellows for Tottenham. Happy days. Never going to complain about a red card. So stats-wise, that's pretty much how the game went. How those stats are looked at, I just look at the important ones. Shots. Are we shooting inside the box, outside the box? How many saves did our keeper have to make? Did we give away corners? You know, corners come from attacking play down the wing. So I know my fullbacks are doing their job. So they weren't getting down the wings to try and whip in crosses, which we deflect wide. So for me, absolutely great. So before we go any further, I want to do player ratings. So if you're in the chat, feel free to chuck in your player ratings. If you are watching this back afterwards, you get it back from the game, or you're watching it tonight after before match of the day or anything like that, hit the like. Please hit the subscribe if you're new to the channel. Join the community and do all that stuff. I hate having to promote it. I want it to be natural here, guys. But please jump in there and have your say on the player ratings that I'm just about to do. Obviously, Le Mans, we'll go straight in. I think I'm going to be sort of give my player ratings how I see it as a coach. I can't give Le Mans a higher than a 6 today. And some people think, oh, come on, like the guy's not conceded a goal, he's got a clean sheet. He literally had nothing to do. So all he had to do, a couple of balls back, he knocked long balls long. He hit a bad pass in the first half, which if, who was it? Came from Atletico Madrid, can't think of his name, we wanted him. If he controlled it better, he would have had the attempted lob because he was so far out of his goal, it was an open goal. You just got to make sure you hit the target. So I'm going to give him a 6. I'm going to give Dalot a 7 out of 10. Got 1 assist for the goal. Again, didn't really have to do much, but he did have good link-up play. He was getting high up. He was supporting Ahmad. So I'll give him a 7. I'll give Luke Shaw a 7 as well. He done exactly the same. Good balls in. No one got past him. Harry Maguire and Martinez are getting 7s because they didn't really have to do anything. They literally pocketed Solanke between them. So whenever the ball did pop up to him, they just pretty much one wrestled him and the other one took the ball off his feet. It was so easy for them today. Casemiro, I'm going to give a 7. Seems to be a theme here. I'm not doing 0.5 before anyone goes into that crap. 0.5, it's a solid number. When you're doing my player ratings, solid number. It's either a 7, an 8, a 9, whatever. Notice what I did there. A 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Okay? Casemiro, I'm going to say 7. It probably could have been a borderline 8. That guy cannot put a foot wrong, really, at the moment. But because he's more of a holding player, the way he sat back and just helped control it, and Kobe Mainu doing the link-up play, I thought was superb. Then I'm going to say Mainu was an 8 today. I think Mainu is game by game. This is why I'm going to come back to the Sesko thing after this. Game by game, you can see his confidence growing, his persona growing on the pitch, and he's just going through the motions. You know, Tottenham made it easy for him to go through the motions today. But the little turns, the little link-up plays, him and Bruno, you can see actually Amarin had a point, but those two are very similar because the way they link the play together, little one-touch, outside the foot passes, it's solid, and their first touch today was superb. So yeah, he's going to get an 8 for me. I'm going to go Ahmad with a 7. I thought he was doing everything positively going down the wing. He got in the box, but he keeps cutting back on his left foot. And for me, that's probably preventing us from getting almost another 2 goals a game. I see a lot of opportunities for him to put the ball in the box. Again, his first touch was superb. I thought Tottenham handled him very well, and he's starting to look very one-dimensional. He's getting the ball. He'll look to either shift it past him and beat him for pace. Couldn't do that today. Or it's a little trick, and then he'll come inside and look for the left-footed bender, which, again, they weren't able to do. So that's why I gave Dalot the 7, because the overlap was the only thing that created space. But I don't think he really created enough opportunities for the right winger. But my standards are very high, guys. I always say that. When I look at a right winger, I'm looking at Valencia. I'm looking at David Beckham, George Best. We know what a right winger is meant to do at Man United. Same as my next one, the left winger in Mbeumo. We know what they're meant to do today. I'm going to give Mbeumo, obviously, he got the goal. He played out of position superbly well. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. So he's up there because, what's that? 5 goals under Carrick? Is it 5 under Carrick, 4 under Carrick and 1 under Fletcher? So since Amarin's gone, he's continued to score. He's hit double figures now for the season. I thought playing outside on the left wing, he's never played there in his career that we've known of. Maybe he's found himself in that position at Brentford covering, but it's definitely never been a position for him. I thought he was superb out there on the left today, covering back. When he did have to get back, he done it. The interchange between him and Cunha was top. It never looked out of place. It wasn't that left side space was never left as an open void space where they could expose it. Which, let's be fair, if they had Pedro Porro today, it would have been even more of a test for Mbeumo and Shaw. But obviously they didn't. But the goal's going to give him that little bit extra, give him a 9. And then Cunha up top. I wasn't expecting him to start. I'm going to give him an 8. I don't think he offered as much going forward. And when I say going forward, when you're the front man, you've got to make those runs in behind. He comes back towards our own goal too much to get the ball. Whereas we all know, and Mbeumo will make the runs in behind. Sesko will hold the ball up. But Cunha wasn't really doing that. But there was some great interlinking play, some really good footwork, some of the stuff straight off Cabana Beach. It's really starting to look a little bit like, as Rude Hullet would say, sexy football between Bruno, Cunha and Mbeumo. We all know how the clip goes, and there's probably another one in there today with a little one-touch passing. And I'm putting Kobe Mainu in there now because he's really starting to join in and link up that play with them as well. But man of the match, and if you're not sitting down, please make sure you sit down now. I'm giving 10 out of 10 for Bruno. I can't see what the guy done wrong today. He's got his goal, his 200th goal involvement. Maybe that's edged him a little bit over the 9 for me, but superb finish for his goal. He was there. He was at the heart of everything. Sesko should have got him his 13th assist. There were some other chances. He chased the ball down. He won the ball back. Trevor or Boxing, I can't remember. One of you just said there was a few chances for a few better through balls. So maybe that's where you could drop him half a point, but I'm not doing half points. So me, 10 out of 10, man of the match, Bruno. Then obviously the subs, they were only on maximum of 15 minutes. So, they shouldn't even get one. So they can all have a 7 out of 10 because we didn't lose. Actually, scrap that. They can all have a 6. I gave Lemens a 6. He didn't have to do anything, so they can have a 6. So, yeah, let me know what you think about the ratings. If you think I'm being a little bit over the top, but I can only see it as how I see it. They've done the job they've been asked to do. We haven't conceded. We march on another 3 points. And we got United Strand shitting himself that he's actually going to have to get his hair cut on Wednesday morning after the game Tuesday night against West Ham. So, yes, let's get back to your chat questions anyway. It's been moving around on the side while I've been talking. That's pretty much everything about the game. So let's make the next bit about this with what you guys have to say. Let's keep it relevant to the game for now. Where are we? I sort of lost my place. Getting back to Sesko. This is where we were. Getting back to Sesko. He's still fitting in at the club and the Premier League in general, whereas Mbeumo and Cunha have huge Premier League experience, which counts for a lot. And I totally agree with that. The funniest thing about seeing Sesko warm up on the touchlines, and I don't know for you that go to the games where your seats are, but if you're on the south stand and you see the subs running up and down in front of you, if you ever see Sesko running up, he couldn't look more Eastern European in his tracksuit. When you see the Serbian team turn up, they're oversized tracksuits, big, buggy, and it's almost like that stereotype from a movie. And I'm like, show me that stereotype of that player, because if you bring that aggression I think he has with his national team to Manchester United, I think we're going to really have some kind of player on our hands that a lot of the defenders aren't going to want to deal with. Maybe Saliba, people like that, they'll be up for it. But a lot of defenders in this day and age, who rather play the ball than challenge for a header. I think that's what Sesko can bring. And you're right. Get through this season, go away, review the season. What can I do? And just listen to those coaches. Obviously, the other thing we should touch on for Sesko, compared to Cunha and Mbeumo, Sesko's had to come into a team where there's now unrest. He's come in, the manager's gone, the manager brought him in. He doesn't know if the other manager will want him because we only got one striker. He might want another striker to come in. So there's even more pressure for him to take his chances. And some strikers thrive under that pressure, and that's what it's all about. I know it was for me. Whenever I walked on a pitch, I'm like, I'm coming with a hat-trick today. Hat-trick. That's I scored one, right, don't care. Haven't scored, I've got to get another one. Haven't scored, got to get another one. That's the mentality I have. Whereas someone like Sesko might be, oh God, if Mbeumo's scoring, Cunha's scoring, Jesus, I really need to take, and he might just feel a little within himself. So that's never going to help. I don't want to be negative about Shaw. As on his day, he's a good left back. It is suspicious though. It's the World Cup year. Coincidence. I generally do think Boxing, it is a coincidence. As I tried to explain, I think with Shaw he's going to play all of this season, every game. He's going to potentially, in the past, he's done that. He's gone to the World Cup and we've gone semi-finals, quarterfinals, and the final, right? Be it World Cup or Euro. So every 2 years, he's going deep into competitions. We're going deep in competitions, even if it's UEFA, Champions League. Okay, what's the best we've done over the last 10 years? probably last 16, if I remember correctly. Or did we go further? Did we go quarters? Can't remember. Was it? I can't remember if we went out in the quarters with Shaw. But probably went to Europa League finals, semi-finals, and that's a lot of games. FA Cup runs, Carabao Cup runs, we're normally going deep. This is the first year as a season ticket holder where, to be honest, you're probably thinking you've put the prices up and all I'm going to get to watch is 38 games as a season ticket. Well, not even 38 games, it's half that. So you're probably not going to want to be there. But Shaw's going to play those 38 games and he's getting a lot more rest time. So is that helping him where he's not having to play every 3 weeks? There's a lot of cogs, shall we say, that could lead to Shaw being able to last games and not be overplayed and pull himself out. But I do agree, like the cynic in me says, big coincidence that every time there's an England tournament, he plays every game. But very coincidental afterwards, he's played every game for England, and we start getting him injured. He comes back from the England camp injured. Lucy Bronze is a prime example for the women's game. She played that final with a fractured fibula, but she still played the final and then goes back to her club and is unable to play. You could put Shaw in the same sort of category, I reckon. Boxing, I'm a huge Luke Shaw fan, but it does seem it always works out like that. I just think it's unlucky timing for him. I agree. Right, moving on from Shaw. Passing actually was 90%, which is on the high side. Yeah, it is. But when they've got one less player, Trevor, on the pitch, there's no excuse for it not to be on the high side, I will say. 7 corners to none for Spurs, which shows the dominance in the end against 10 and has had nothing going forward. It is, but it means that... So I say, I don't like stats. The stats I like is the eye test. And you can't beat the eye test. If they've never had a corner, and I can't remember the keeper making a save, which pretty much means they were never in our final third, and we only made their goalkeeper make, what did I say, 7 or 9 saves? We've got to do more with those 20-something shots because that shows we're missing the target. We scored 2. He saved, or I'll say 9, so that's the thing. So we've missed 11 shots on goal. So can we do better? We've got to keep saying, can we do better with the ball? Because it's the right way to progress. It's not about being negative. It's not about like taking the piss on about shots. It's the only way to grow as a team. You want better every time. Spurs only got 2 yellows, but 1 huge red. Yeah, exactly. And that one big red is all we care about. So what we got here from Danny? Everyone's 7 or above today for me. Yeah, well, like I say, that's why I only gave the keeper because he literally didn't have to touch the ball apart from one dodgy pass, which I think knocks him down because he didn't have many touches. So when you don't have much to do, you've got to make sure you do the things you do have to do. That's a lot of do's. But as Peter Schmeichel used to say, he used to shout at players to keep himself in the game so he stays switched on. A bad pass could have led to a goal, and then we would have been chasing the game before we even scored. So it's not a criticism, it's just about concentration. Here we go. Here's Trevor's. Men 6, Dallo 6, Maguire and Martinez both 7, Shaw and 8. I like that. Bruno and 9. Kobe Casemiro 8, Ahmad 7, Cunha 7, and Mbumo 8. My man in the match was Bruno. So I'd say I'm a grade higher than you, but pretty much we're on the same boat there, Trevor. Maino was a solid 8. Yeah, don't think he really put a foot wrong. Maino was brilliant. Do you think we're overhyping Maino a bit though? Because if we're saying he's brilliant now, we want him to get better. We want him to do more. So I'm thinking Mainu's just doing his job and he's having some good moments. And some of that is fortunate play on, like I said, about having the extra space around him because of the way the game panned out today, things like that. So, yeah, do you think that we need to maybe be a little bit more critical because we're all happy? So I'm just plugging my laptop back in. Helps if you put the charger in the actual hole. And my screen's gone blank. This is great. There we go. And I'm back. I don't know if I dropped out there, guys, but it's just stupid technical equipment. We all love technical errors. Yeah, do you think that we need to be a little bit more critical on Mainu? It's great to have him back in. We all wanted him playing, but we need room to let him grow, and we need room to critique him. Make sure I use the right word there. And it is critique, not criticise, because Kobbie Mainoo is learning the role he's playing still. I make a big point of this. Under 16s, he was playing as a striker. Under 18s, with Garnacho, and when they won that, he was moved into the 10 role. Now we're playing him in a sort of a hybrid 8 role with Casemiro. And then you still hear people, like, I think it's stupid talk saying he could play the 6, because I don't think he can tackle, and he certainly can't run. And when I say run, I'm talking about sprint speed. He doesn't really have a very high top gear. It's a bit like driving your car and you put it in 5th when you're meant to put it in 3rd. It just doesn't. It's just not moving. It takes him a while to get up to that speed. Personal opinion, and it's just what I see. But I critique him like that because I want him to get better. So I hope that's fair. Yeah, Bruno scored his goal after moving to the left. And Bruno likes playing quite wide. I'm guessing it gives him more. He loves a whipped ball in, whether it be an in swinger or an out swinger. I think he likes it. He definitely pushes out to our right side a lot. And I think sometimes under Amarin, he was part of the problem, because he would go roaming as the 8 in the space where Ahmad and Mbeumo were meant to be. And that's why we were left so open. And he does. He likes to pull himself out wide, sort of the width between the touchline and the 18 box, but about 45 yards out. He does like to get in there and then put the ball in. But he arrived at the back post, and that's classic winger play. The ball's coming in from the right. The left winger needs to be back post. So I can't criticise Bruno today. I don't think he put a foot wrong, and I'm seeing a totally different Bruno. And my question to you guys is, do you feel we're seeing a different Bruno? Because Michael Carrick was one of the first coaches who dealt with him when he came to the club under Ollie. So however Bruno was meant to play in midfield, do you think Carrick's got a better hold of him? Like, this is what I expect you to do. This is what we brought you here to do. And maybe he's had a little bit too much of, was let off the leash a bit by other managers. And now with Carrick coming back in, obviously worked under Ollie, he's reined him in a little bit more, simplified his game. I just want you to do this. I just want you to support the striker. You do all that running, you've got an engine to burn. But then I want you just linking up the play, and you'll get your shots off and you'll get the passes in. Because that's what I think we're seeing in Bruno. And I've said for a long time, simplifying his game would help him a lot. He tries to do too much. Sesko looks like Dragon from Rocky IV. He does look like his son, Ivan Drago. Yeah. He dies. All right, well, Trevor, we're going to take that and say, considering you know I'm a big Rocky fan, he needs to play with that attitude. If he dies, he dies. You know, it would be great. So we all know that saying. Right. Some great comments in here today, guys. That's why, if you're watching this show back, you've got to be finding the live shows, guys. It's always going up in the community. I need more people in here. You will have to deal with Trevor if he's on one of an evening, with some of his lovely random remarks. They do make the shows special. But boxing, so happy you're in here today. Normally, you know, we've got Danny and Bilal, but obviously time differences. I've gone a lot earlier. What we got here? Mainu is just doing his job for me. I agree. He's being lauded too much. See, Trevor, we are definitely. Trevor, I'd love to know if you're like in your early 40s, because I feel like you're somewhere in your 40s, because the way you think, it's like we grew up with the same Man United team, so therefore we see certain aspects of the game the same way for Manchester United. He's had a season on the bench. Great to see him improving, but needs to do a lot more. Speaking of devils I'm going through, there is Bilal. 4 wins in a row. Hey, Bilal, we've got to get those clippers out. At this rate, United Strand's going to get his hair cut before me. The question is, are we going to pin him down in the ground? Are Man United going to get him in the training ground and cut his hair? Because let's be fair, that'd be great PR for the club. So yes, 4 in a row. Different Bruno as he's playing in his preferred position, nothing else. I think there is a little bit more to it than that, Trevor. But yeah, I do agree. Putting him in the 10, you're definitely going to get the best out of him when that's his position. I think there's definitely more to come from Manu, Trev. I'm just enjoying. He's there for link ups, and he's always open to receive the pass. Let's be honest, his head and shoulders above Ugarte, and that boxing, I 100% agree. The way he's always on the half turn, the old midfielders we don't even need to talk about your Scholes, your Keanes, your Nicky Butts, people like that. We go Pogba, we go Herrera, everyone like that. It's all about receiving the ball in the half turn. And that's one thing Kobe Manu does. There's not enough footballers really now that naturally do that. And it's weird. It was always told to receive the ball on your back foot, half turn, shield it from the player. Then you've got the option to go either way. You can receive it on your, say, you stand left foot forward, you receive it on your left foot, you can go play back towards your goal and you'll be on a dominant foot. You can let it run across you, shielding it from the player, you'll still be on your dominant foot, and that's just for a right-footed player. You can use your arms. Whereas we seem to pass very square on, very square, and that's what over the last 5 years, why we play so many backwards passes, because they're receiving it facing our own goal. They're not on the half turn. So, yeah, I do agree. I totally agree. Frank is getting excited. How much will it cost to get his hair cut? Well, I'm thinking clippers and just take the whole lot off, right? So I'd do it for £5. The question is, right, it could have been, right, I don't work in PR. I feel that I probably could have back in the day. But if I was Manchester United right now, we beat West Ham, I'm already contacting him that night. Are you going to the game? If we beat West Ham, do not get anything done to your hair. We will invite you into the training ground the next day. Oh, killer. Shots fired. Someone doesn't agree. I would invite him into the training ground the next day. I would get MUTV all set up. I would put it out live on MUTV. I would get the players barber in. I would get players around him. I'd get whatever he has done to his hair, it's done to his hair. If it's shaved off, it's shaved off. And then I would get something from the club. Like, he shaved all this hair off. I can't think of the charity, but it's going to be a lot of hair. And you can send it to the children's charity, makes children's wigs. And that for children cancer patients. And you do it through the MUTV thing. And we're going to donate X amount, and then you start getting players putting money in. Oh, I'll give him so much, so much, so much. It's just great PR spin. It's jumping on, on the wagon, so to speak, instead of falling off the wagon. But I just think Man United could do so much for it to raise the profile positively, and the players, if they jumped on that with him, it's good media content. If he wants to come on my channel and that, I could do with the followers, but it probably would get me a hell of a lot of subscribers. We'll do it as a premiere, or a pay-per-view or something like that. So, but it is going to be one hell of a difference. Can you imagine what he's going to look like? So, pick up Trev, Hedges, Clippers, yeah. Good idea. So, yeah, that's cool. Back up with you guys. So, I think, is there anything else like from today's game that you're concerned about? Oh, here we go. Watch, Trev's got one. Do you think the club wants to be associated with YouTube channels? So, don't think so. Remember the Rashford United Stan link up? It wasn't Rashford, Rasmus link up. You mean, Trevor? Yeah, that went down like a sack of whatever you want to call it. But United are pushing more into the YouTube at the moment. So yesterday, United live streams the. That's the wrong word to use. Obviously, we had the memorial service, and that was live streamed on YouTube on Man United's channel. as well as on MUTV. They are now starting to do a post-match like review on the YouTube channel as well. So they've obviously brought someone in and going, we are not utilizing this platform. So it would not, if they've got their brains, they're the biggest club, and it's all additional revenue. Use YouTube, use TikTok, go live on this stuff. It would affect people like myself on TikTok, affects a lot of people I know that do live streams and post-match reactions on TikTok. But I think on YouTube, if it affects the United stand, who cares? Because people are watching Man United. It's a free platform. This is why I went at 5 o'clock. I don't go straight after United stand because I know I can't compete. But I like to give people also the chance to watch the rest of the games, get home. And then we can have a conversation. A bit like the fact that today I was hoping we'd pull away because of the way Wolves have been playing. And Cole Palmer scored like a 5-minute hat-trick against Wolves. And, you know, they may have managed to pull one back. But Chelsea stick with us. But yeah, Aston Villa got the draw. And we've closed the gap on them yet again. So I've got to be honest. Who here, live now or watching later, thinks we overtake Villa in the next couple of games? Because I do. I think Villa will just naturally, with Liverpool, Chelsea and us being so close in points, if we all win and they lose, I think in the next 2 games, Villa drop below us naturally. We just all leapfrog Villa because of the way it's going. So that's how it is for me. What would be a good idea with United and YouTube is to big up the youth coming through at the club. Would be a game changer. Well, they do put all the highlights of all the youth games out on YouTube. I do think maybe the under-18 should be live streamed free of charge on YouTube. I think that's definitely something positive the club could do. But the only problem with that is it gives everyone more access to blow smoke up these young players' arses. And it's not just this year. Okay, we've got JJ, we've got Rooney. But last year, you know, Obi, everyone's raving about Obi, Bayern Kerry, Lacey, Wheaton. A lot of our players don't go on to do as much, but I would definitely put the 18s free of charge on YouTube. In our household, netball is a big sport. Sky Sports shows netball live on Sky Sports free, YouTube channel free of charge. Because let's be honest, it's on sometimes the same times as football matches, and in most households, women aren't going to win to watch the netball over someone watching the football. I think that's an honest comment. No malice in that. You know, it's not sexism. I pretty much get the choice here. But YouTube is an option there, but the club don't do it. They want full revenue through MUTV. But I'm pretty sure I've got an MUTV license. I don't know if all you guys have. I don't really pay for it for the access to the under 18s and 21 games. There's lots of other stuff I use it for, namely getting my points up to get tickets. So that's just my belief. Trevor, I think we're sort of on the same sort of wavelength there. I think we can overtake City Mark as well. Well, they're only 1 point further ahead. So obviously, dependent on results in those, it can happen. But I'm very much I've never looked at a league table in my life as a player. I definitely do as a fan. You can't help but not because it's all we talk about. But as a player, I'm hoping if we just win the next game, we're moving forward. It's all about winning the next. What are the other results? I don't give a shit. If we're winning and getting 3 points, no one can do better than that. And so you're right. I think we can catch City. But it is about, we go out, West Ham, 3 points. Who have we got the next couple of games? It's West Ham, and then obviously then we got the FA Cup where we're going to go away potentially for warm weather training. And then we come back, don't we? We come back with a bit of a bang, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, we come back. We've got Everton, Palace, and Newcastle. Then the big game is Sunday, March 15th. It's Villa. So if Villa drop out, we've got to make sure we go there and win. this 2-week gap, I hope we don't lose momentum. We lost momentum at the beginning of the season under Amarin. If you remember, when the international breaks come in, we started doing well, come back from that, and it was quite crap. But then again, it also was just slow, methodical football under Amarin. Villa drew today. Yes, they did 1-1. Yes, but life's more thinking. What, like interviews and things like that with the younger players, do you reckon, Trev? The thing is, you don't want to give them too much media exposure because they just get big heads. That's the world we live in now. Maybe just a few interviews to see what these boys are all about and can they handle for their media, which would benefit from them going. So I would say media for the 21s. So yeah, I like where you're going with that, and it's sort of got my brain ticking. I like things I would like to do. I would say 18 games live, free of charge through YouTube. I would say pay 21s have to play on MUTV because they also play the Stupid Cup, whatever it's called, each season against the League Two opposition and things like that. But then they do their TV interviews and they have to do the fan zone or the media zone. So then they're more ready if they have to come up to the first team, bit more responsibility, help them grow up a bit. I really like where you're going with that, Trev. What do you think of warm weather training? As when they come back, they will be back playing in the cold again. It's a load of codswallop. It is codswallop, and I will tell you the main reason warm weather training is the biggest load of bullshit that I've ever heard, and it's basically a mid-season jolly for team bonding, and I'd rather they just called it that because having trained myself at Carrington, I know it's changed now, but you've got a massive indoor 4G pitch, temperature controlled, everything like that. Pretty much every club has this. So if I want warm weather, I can whack the conditions up in there early on, maybe even the night before, increase the humidity, things like that, which is great if you're going to go play an away game in a hot country. So that would be absolutely great. But there's no reason to go away. You can train on all these pitches. There are some teams that used to even have a grass pitch indoors. You take the heat lamps, you put them over it, so you're still playing on grass. There's no real benefit to going abroad apart from getting away from the media. But that has definitely changed in this day and age. So that used to be the reason why it was done, because the papers wouldn't have as many journalists to send to watch your training, and you could work on something new for when you come back. Now, it could be the waiter filming it on his phone and giving away stuff. So there is no real reason to go away, but there is talk. Obviously, Carrick's played it down in the last two press conferences about playing a couple of friendlies. There was talk under Amaring of this happening and it being worth about 10 million. I'm sorry, what is 10 million to Manchester United? It's if we need to play games and get an extra 10 million in, Jesus Christ, how much shit are we in financially? That's just my take. 100% a mid-season jolly. I'm glad you agree, and I think most people will agree on that sort of scenario. But guys, it's been almost an hour and a half. This show, absolutely, it's no surprise. We win, and we can talk for hours. We lose, and we pretty much want to get, like we do in the ground, we want to get out and get home quick. By flying on the planes for warm weather training is more bad for you. That sort of changed as well, Trev. It's not as bad. Actually, they probably fly EasyJet these days. We get the train to down to London, don't we? So I was going to say they fly first class like Emirates. Everyone's got their own personal reclining sofa, bed, weird thing. But right now, the money we save, I'm surprised if we're flying EasyJet. We all love a bit of sun and a beer, lads. And do you know what? Why not? Why not? There could be a benefit side to that for them seeing a different side to the manager. So that's it's one of those. If the manager feels it's right, it's right. Whereas it's a bit like the Sancho. I'll make this the last thing I say. The warm weather training is very much like the belief whether Casemiro, Sancho, Rashford were right when we had a week off. They flew to New York and done what they did out there. And they all got all pissed up. They've come back, but they can get the alcohol out of their system and they're ready to train again. What's the difference to us going and doing warm weather training? A lot of people saying you shouldn't be flying, you're not training, it's time away from the training pitch. If you're serious about making top four, you're serious about getting back in the Champions League and building this team going forward, then play a behind closed door friendly. Don't worry about the money and just keep the players moving. Get some of these other players playing 90 minutes who haven't had games, Sesko's, Tyler Fredericks, the Fletcher boys, Ugarte, Bayindir, anyone like that. Get them on. Get Sesko playing 90 minutes. Do that in that time. That's my take on that kind of thing. From a coaching point of view, you don't need to go away. You just need to be playing matches, even if it's against the 21s or the 18s. As long as it's not Chelsea's under 16s that managed to beat the Chelsea first team, that's the one thing I wouldn't want us to do. So for that will be the last thing. What I will say to you guys, I will probably be back on when we play on Tuesday. Before the game Tuesday night, I will come on. I will do a preview show Tuesday night. So it will be a early one. A lot of you might even miss it. But I think we are playing 8:15, is it? 8:15. I know it's a special TNT game, isn't it? Yeah, 8:15. All the games are on TNT Sports. If you've got that, BT Sports, call it whatever you want. Or whatever it is in your area if you're watching it. But it's an 8:15 kickoff. Teams will come out about 7:15. I will do the preview at 7 o'clock. It will be structured for obvious reasons. I want to get myself settled and ready to watch the game at 8:15. We'll probably do a maximum 45 minutes, but I will aim for half an hour. Just go through the starting lineup. Any concerns? I might even put a certain person on the thumbnail because I think he deserves a place. Old United Strand. Just don't want to get hit with copyright. I might have to cover his face off, or maybe just a pair of clippers. But yeah, let's take this positivity. Well, we've got to go 2 days. Let's hope that City get beat tomorrow. Actually, I suppose a draw is probably the best option for us tomorrow, because we don't want Liverpool picking up the points. And we'll go from there, guys. But thank you for all the interaction. I really do appreciate boxing. Great to have you in for a whole show. I know this isn't probably up to the standards of some of the channels we run into each other on United Stands, FU TV, and things like that. But I know you appreciate my honesty. You always have. Trevor, you've been superb throughout the show. Bilal, you've been in and out. Thank you for being here. Danny, obviously you two are my new moderators now. Not that I've had any abuse since. You scared them all off. Thank you, Trevor. I thought it was a good show. I think both shows have been good. Maybe I'm getting more into the group, a bit more relaxed about it. But obviously United are winning and there's a lot of positives to talk about, which means that we're not just focused only on negatives. But yeah, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, I'll go live. So be ready and we will take this 4 in a row into that and let's see if we can get the guys' heads shaved. So from me, I will see you Tuesday. Take care.